It may be a hazy 70-degree night from Veterans Field, but it's not because fireworks have been popping. The holiday is over. There was no baseball on July 4th between Orleans and Chatham, so tonight is the night for the East Division rivals to do battle from Veterans Field. Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us on the Birds Broadcast Network. This is The Scorching Start. Ian Nicholas, joined alongside Dylan Pescatore. You're here from the third member of our crew, Sammy Miller, in just a few moments. Orleans and Chatham supposed to play yesterday on the holiday, July 4th, but Tom Holliday and Kelly Nicholson's crews could not. The weather was awful in Eldridge Park. Could not play a game there yesterday. But Dylan, tonight, the night for Orleans, trying to swing the momentum in their favor for the third night in a row. The last two wins have been unbelievable. A walk-off and another one where the offense was insane. A couple of come-from-behind victories.
Yes, and that's kind of what this team needed after a start to the season where it was all about the pitching staff. Now it's been a little bit of a flip, or the opposite, where the offense is really carrying this team to a lot of wins. And it's really great to see a lot of different names, 1 through 9, through the lineup, and even some guys who don't play every single day are coming in and making an impact. It's truly been a change in kind of scenario for this team where they usually are winning 3-1, 4-2, low-scoring games. Last two games have been 7-6 and 8-6 finals.
Unbelievable final scores against Wareham and a walk-off victory on Sunday, and then Hyannis also at home on Monday in a game that came down to the wire, and was also Kelly Nicholson's 400th win as manager. And these wins so important to the final result. This team starting to build positive momentum, just its second win streak on the season, and it seems like another win could certainly do some good. Sammy Miller, the mindset is this team is so close to breaking out.
Thank you, Ian. After that huge 8-6 victory over the Harbor Hawks on Monday, it was the first time the Firebirds have won back-to-back games since beating Falmouth and Brewster on June 21st and June 22nd. Ever since then, they have been in this cycle of winning a game and then losing the next, but not this time around. After the win, UAB catcher Henry Hunter said how badly he wanted to get that win, not only for the team, but for Kelly Nicholson as well. He went on to say how they are planning on carrying that momentum forward and getting this thing rolling. He believes they are one win away from really taking off. So maybe this game tonight against Chatham can be that game for the Firebirds to explode and get hot in this very important month of July. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Sammy. You know, Dylan, it's an important game because the last two wins for Orleans against West Division teams. You beat Wareham, you beat Hyannis. A win's a win. 2 points is 2 points. But this next week, and especially a couple big road tests against East Division teams, so important because a few weeks ago, Orleans was in the cellar of the East Division, but now only 1.5 games back of the top spot.
That's right, only 3 points back of YD. Harwich in there as well. You always want to beat your divisional opponents. They call it a 4-point swing when you can take 2 and they don't get any. On a certain night, a game goes by. This team has kind of went through a little bit of a stretch in the start of the year where things weren't going their way and nothing was given to them very easily. Now they're starting to get going. The momentum is moving closer. With no game yesterday, how do they respond fully healthy, fully back, and fully rested for a game against Chatham, who now sits in that cellar spot of the East Division, but you can't take any team lightly in the Cape Cod Baseball League.
You can't. I mean, this is an Orleans team that at one point had a 5-game losing streak, then turned it into 3 straight wins, and now back-to-back wins for the Birds, looking for another 3-game win streak tonight against the Chatham Anglers. Orleans has gotten a lot of production offensively, a big reason for the turnaround this season. And Dylan, a few names appeared in the lineup and produced in the lineup in the win on Monday against Hyannis that usually aren't the more productive players in this offense, but guys like Henry Hunter and Eddie King Jr. starting to turn the corner and show why they belong here on this team.
Yeah, and maybe they had a struggling start to the season, but now they're starting to really come into form. Like you said, Eddie King Jr., a huge 2 RBI single to make it 4-4 against Hyannis after they put up 4 runs in the top of the third. It truly felt almost like a shot to the heart against Hyannis, where they put up 2 home runs in an inning, including a 3-run shot by Cam Smith, and the Firebirds kind of got punched in the mouth. They punched right back, Eddie King Jr. with that 2 RBI single. And then Henry Hunter got it started off in the game, a 2-run shot in the bottom of the second. His first extra base hit of the year was a big one, a big shot to right center field at Eldridge into the bullpen. Ian, you caught up with Henry Hunter right before. Let's go to you with the catcher from UAB.
After he set the tone in Orleans' latest win against Hyannis, we had to catch up with catcher Henry Hunter on the scorching start. Henry, your first long ball as a member of the Firebirds. How did that one feel?
It felt really good. It was a long time coming, so it was good to just help the team out, I feel like I've been skidding a little bit at the plate, and that was the biggest frustration. I wanted to help out the team and put some good swing on balls, so that was big, getting off to a good start there.
What do you think led to that skid, and what allowed you to kind of break out of that for your second multi-hit game here in Orleans?
I think the biggest thing is I was just coming off a tough spring, so it's really just telling myself that I belong here, and that just regaining that confidence is the biggest thing. Just slowing myself down and just trusting my ability up there, because you're really only as good as you tell yourself. So just trying to just slow the game down and trust my ability up there, really and truly.
And how cool is it that you guys prioritize the mental side of the game so much? I know there's the mind-up sessions you do with Coach Banfield. How important have those been to kind of resetting every game and realizing I am here and there's a reason why I'm here?
Oh, absolutely. It's huge. Coach Banfield and I work a good bit together, just working on, like what I was talking about, just the confidence side of things, and just feeling like I belong here. And that's the biggest thing that we've been working on, just to make sure that we're on the same page, and that he does a great job with all of us and just keeping our head in it and just giving us that confidence day in, day out.
So here you are on Cape Cod. You're in Atlanta, outside the Atlanta area native. You play your college ball in Alabama, and you're in the Appalachian League last summer. Is your first time up here on the Cape?
It is. It's my first time, but it's beautiful up here. I'm really enjoying it. My host family's great. Shout out to Andy O'Neill and Mary Griffin, so they do a great job for me. They keep me happy, keep me fed, so no complaints so far. It's been a blast.
So I'm kind of curious, what's the kind of bond you develop with Carp? Because you two, I know Colin just joined the fold with, and I know he can catch, but you guys, the only two catchers on the roster all season long. How have you two gotten along? One Michigan guy, one Georgia guy.
He's awesome. I have so much respect for Carp, and I know where he's from in the Detroit area. It's the same thing with the Atlanta area, just a lot of hardworking people, and just have so much respect for him because I know all the time that he puts into this and how much he cares. And both of us have struggled a little bit, and we're aware of that. And we just try to help the team in any capacity that we can. And I know he's going to get it, and I'm going to get it soon. And we're going to get this thing rolling. But I love him. He's one of my best friends up here. So I've really enjoyed getting to know him and playing with him and competing with him every single day.
Here with Henry Hunter on a scorching start. One last one for you, Henry. On days where you're not catching and he is, and vice versa, what are the kind of things you're saying to each other just to, be that supportive teammate?
Right. I would just say the biggest thing is just keeping him okay in his head and just giving him that confidence every single time he goes up there. If it's a tough defensive inning, just making him feel like he's doing a great job and that he'll just keep going, and mistakes happen, and just keeping his head level, and same to him with me. And we do a good at just bouncing ideas off of each other and just making sure that we feel good. So it's definitely something that we use a lot. We use each other a lot. We ask each other questions about what we look like back there, what we look like at the plate, and we help each other out a ton. So, no, it's been an awesome relationship. I love them.
It's been an awesome last few games for Orleans, trying to make it 3 in a row tonight against Chatham. Henry Hunter, thanks so much for joining us.
Appreciate it.
Dylan, back to you.
Back here on Scorching Start on the Birds Broadcast Network, that was Ian Nicholas with Henry Hunter, one of the catchers on the Firebirds out of UAB. We sit here about 4 or 5 minutes until first pitch here in Chatham. And Ian, let's start off with the Chatham lineup that had a big day against Harwich in their last time out.
Yes, it did. Chatham, a much-needed win on Monday against the Harwich Mariners in one of the top 2 spots in the East Division. Matthew Etzel leads off for Tom Holliday's crew, playing in center field. Derek Fabian bats second. He's playing at short. Carter Trice bats third. He's in left field. Nolan Schubert DHing and batting cleanup. Lyle Miller Green in right, batting fifth. Caden Kent at first base, batting sixth. Kyson Donahue, the second baseman, batting seventh. Aiden Mayola batting eighth. He's at third, and Caden Hobson rounds out the order, doing the catching for Tom Holliday's crew. We'll take a quick break here on the Scorching Start here on the Birds Broadcast Network. We go to the national anthem here from Veterans Field, and we'll be right back in just a few for first pitch between Chatham and Orleans at 7 o'clock. Stay with us.
With tonight's national anthem, Hand of Joy. Oh, say, can you see
What do you mean?
Your dials are all the way down.
Okay, I got it.
Back here on the Birds Broadcast Network, Ian Nicholas, Dylan Pescatore from a foggy Veterans Field. This field's had some issues with fog this season. Who knows why? Just seems like the fog likes to roll through Chatham. Packed house for the A's, the 5th best team in the East Division, trying to get out of the cellar against the 3rd best team in the East Division right now, the Orleans Firebirds. And Dylan, what is the lineup that the Firebirds are trotting out tonight as the road team batting first?
Yes, the starting 9 for the Firebirds. Joe Oyama back in that leadoff spot. 10th straight game. He is in the number 1 spot for the Firebirds. Johnny Olmstead, Jack Penny, and Matt Hallback 2-4. Eddie Micheletti bats 5th, currently in the transfer portal. Eddie King Jr. off his big game against Hyannis bats 6th. Owen Carpellotti, Drew Farreau, and Jake Casey round out the order for the bottom 3 for the Firebirds, who are 10-10.
10-10 team, back-to-back wins for the Firebirds before yesterday's rainout. Orleans and Chatham were supposed to play from Eldridge Park. That game did not happen because of bad weather. Back-to-back wins against Wareham and Hyannis headed into last night. Meanwhile, doing the pitching tonight is Miles Langhorne of the Chatham Anglers, the rising redshirt sophomore from UNC Charlotte, originally by way of Greenwich, Connecticut. And Dylan, we grew up in Fairfield County, Connecticut. We've seen Miles Langhorne from the jump. He's got unbelievable stuff. There's a reason that even after a shaky first season with UNC Charlotte in the spring where he had roughly a 7 ERA, he's still a top 150 draft prospect in next year's MLB draft. Why?
Well, because thankfully I didn't step in the box against him back in high school. Pumping 95 as a junior at Greenwich High School, and now he's here in the Cape. Virtually committed to Vandy, had some injury problems, got Tommy John. Now he's at UNC Charlotte. Not the greatest year, but you know why? Because he's here because of the potential. His velocity, along with his 4-pitch mix, including a changeup, a slider, and a curveball that he brings to the table. He has all the tools. Now how can he apply it? And so far on the Cape, it's been a little bit up, a little bit down, but overall the strikeouts are there.
The strikeouts are there. Had 6 of them in his first start of the summer, which came on the 28th of June at Bourne in an 8-2 loss for Chatham. Langhorne was handed the loss, pitched just 3 innings, like he has in all 3 of his appearances this summer. Gave up 3 earned runs off 3 hits, has 6 strikeouts, but also walked 3 Bourne Braves as well. The defense alongside Langhorne tonight includes his UNC Charlotte teammate doing the catching, Caden Hobson, Caden Kent at first, Kyson Donahue at second, Aiden Miola at third, Derek Fabian at short, Carter Trice in left, Matthew Etzel in center, Lyle Miller Green in right for Tom Holliday's crew. Leading off for Orleans, wearing their camo red vest tonight with the red undershirts, white pants, black helmets, white cast with the red brim, is the league leader in batting average, the rising senior from UC Irvine, Joe Oyama.
Oyama has been outstanding for this team, continuously getting on base, whether it be by singles, by doubles, by even triples. Has 3 on the year. Oyama does everything right. Defensively, he's been great as well, and will not be afraid to walk either. He's very selective at the plate.
The 5'7", 170-pound Oyama steps into the batter's box, lefty against righty against Miles Langhorne, whose first pitch misses high to the native of Okinawa, Japan. 1-0.
Fairfield County, Connecticut, Okinawa, Japan.
That's what the Cape Cod Baseball League does, brings the best of the best from all around the country together. Langhorne misses in the dirt on the 1-0 pitch. It's now 2-0 to Oyama. That pitch clocking in at 95 miles an hour from the Connecticut native Langhorne, who dusts off a rubber and tries to ready to throw a strike behind an account 2-0. He deals. Oyama swings and fouls it off. It deflects off of Oyama and back into the field of play, 2-1. That pitch clocking in at 99. The fastball has always been the biggest arsenal for Miles Langhorne.
Yes, he plays with the fastball and then changes eye levels. The curveball, the slider in the dirt as well, along with the changeup.
The 2-1 pitch on the way to Oyama. Up in the zone for strike 2 looking. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the rising senior from UC Irvine. Leading off for the Birds in the top of the first, still scoreless. Orleans 10-10 on the season in search of its third straight win. Vatutu is fouled away. It deflects towards Kelly Nicholson, slips out of his left hand as he sits on a bucket towards the near side of a Firebirds dugout. Fresh off his 400th career victory in the Cape Cod Baseball League in his 18th season at the helm of the Firebirds. Langhorne at the belt, winds up and deals Vatutu. Breaking ball misses low. Oyama works the count full.
That's what they've been doing. Not only Oyama, but the rest of the Firebirds lineup, having continuous great at-bats, grinding out opposing pitchers.
The full count pitch to Oyama is weakly grounded towards second. Fielded by Donahue, he throws to first. In time, the Caden Kent, the speedy Joe Oyama can't beat it out for an infield single. A long battle, that goes the way of Miles Langhorne. Bases empty, one out. Scoreless game, top of the first.
Oyama will hustle no matter what, and that's what he did right there. Rolls over a ground ball to Donahue at second, but he will give it his all, 100% effort, and almost beat it out to first.
Now stepping into batter's box, the first baseman tonight, the rising grad man from USC, Johnny Olmstead. Righty on righty, first pitch swinging, fouls it to the backstop, 0-1. What a week it's been for Johnny Olmstead. Struggled to start the season here on the Cape, but now third on Orleans in batting average among players with at least 50 at-bats. As he calls for time, steps out of a right-handed batter's box, and Langhorne trots around the mound before stepping back on. The rubber ahead in the count, 0-1. He deals. Breaking ball misses low and pops out of a glove of Hobson, 1-1.
Olmstead, like you said, what a week. 4 hits on the road against Bourne, and then he comes back home and has the walk-off against Wareham.
He takes a ball. Low miss from Langhorne, who falls behind 2-1 in the count. Olmstead now batting over 280 on the season. A couple of multi-hit games sprinkled in there. Langhorne sets and deals with 2-1 pitch. Low and away, ball 3. Bases clear, 1 out. Still scoreless on a foggy night from Veterans Field in Chatham in the top of the first. Langhorne's 3-1 offering. Swung on, driven deep to left center field. Going after it is Carter Trice and Matthew Etzel. Etzel makes the catch ahead of a warning track for out number 2. A couple of long at-bats to start this game from Joe Oyama and Johnny Olmstead. A couple outs. Bases clear, 2 away.
Olmstead just missed that one. All the way to the warning track went Etzel in center field. It's upwards of 395 out there. Dead center, and Olmstead, if that went left field or right field, that's gone by 50 feet.
Instead, it's a fly out to the center fielder, Etzel. A ball and no strikes to the lefty third baseman, Jack Penny. Bases clear, 2 out. 0-0 top 1. Langhorne's 1-0 is swung on, gets past his glove, into the glove of second baseman Kyson Donnie, who throws to first and retires Jack Penny after the scoop from Caden Kent. Miles Langhorne goes 1-2-3 in his second start of the summer for Chatham. Keeps it scoreless as we go to the bottom of the first on a foggy night from Veterans Field. We'll be back in just a few. Miles Langhorne goes 1-2-3 in the top of the first to keep it scoreless going into the bottom of the inning. And Dylan Evan Truitt, the rising junior from Charleston Southern, trying to do the same thing over his last 2 starts. He's been really good for Orleans.
Yes, he has. 1 against Falmouth last time out, 3 innings, 1 run. It wasn't earned, only 1 hit and 2 strikeouts, no walks. Why has it been so good for Truitt the last 2 times out? 8 innings, not 1 free pass. 4 hits, 3 runs, only one of them being earned. He has been really consistent, and he's been really good for this team, whether he's given 3 innings, 4 innings, or 5 innings like he did against Brewster back 2 starts ago. His best start of the year, 5 innings, 2 runs, 1 earned, 3 hits.
Truitt, the 6-foot, 180-pound right-handed pitcher from Berlin, Maryland, that is, just south of Delaware, making his 4th start on the summer for Orleans. Behind the dish is Owen Carpellotti at first, Johnny Olmstead second, Joe Oyama third, Jack Penny at short, Drew Farreau left to right in the outfield, Eddie Micheletti Jr., Eddie King Jr., and Jay Casey. Leading off for Chatham is the center fielder, Matthew Etzel, by way of Southern Mississippi. Lefty on righty, first pitch swinging, foul ball to left out of the park as the lights have turned on a foggy night from Veterans Field, 0-1. Truitt going to use a fastball early and often tonight in the low 90s. First one clocking in at 91. He's 0-1 pitch, also swung on, also foul to left, and Etzel goes behind 0-2.
Truitt's a strike thrower. He's not going to fool around and pick corners. He throws the strikes in the zone, and he gets weak contact. That's his game.
Only 2 strikeouts in his last start against Falmouth, which only lasted 3 innings. The 0-2 also swung on, also foul the opposite way to left. And we'll do the 0-2 once again to Matthew Etzel.
Truitt with the slider as well as the changeup in his pitch arsenal.
The 0-2 pitch, breaking ball, which gets down in the left center for a base hit. A 4-pitch at bat in an 0-2 single. Etzel made contact on each of the 4 pitches he saw, fouled 3 off the left, and then lined it right through the middle of the infield for the first hit of the game for either team. 1 on, nobody out.
Just a good piece of hitting. And if you're Truitt, I know he's usually a guy who stays in the zone. Against a Chatham team, you have to kind of pick your corners on 2-strike pitches and don't let him hit such a good pitch on 2 strikes.
Truitt deals to the second man of the order, Derek Fabian. The shortstop takes his strike looking, goes behind 0-1. 1 on, nobody out. Scoreless, bottom of the first. Truitt sets after getting the sign from Georgetown's Owen Carpellotti behind the dish. Deals the 0-1. Fabian showed bunt, pulled it back at a pitch high of his own for ball 1. The 6'3", 190-pound infielder just finished up his sophomore season with Florida. So obviously a late addition after a very deep run into the College World Series, losing to LSU in the championship. The 1-1 in the upper third and called strike 2 from home plate umpire Mickey Garcia. Chatham wearing the all-white pinstripe jerseys tonight with the blue lettering, the blue helmets. The classic look for one of the most distinctive franchises in the Cape Cod Baseball League. The 1-2 pitch swung on, grounded towards short, throwing the first for 1. Oyama holds on to it. The force out at second of Matthew Etzel, reaching on a fielder's choice, Derek Fabian. 1 on, 1 away. Still 0-0, bottom of the first. Smart decision there from Joe Oyama as the speedy Fabian able to beat it out at first.
Yeah, went to the backhand of Farreau, so he just had to get the 1 out. He did with a good throw to Oyama. And Oyama held it. There was no need to even throw it over to first. Only bad things would have happened.
Carter Trice, another righty, waves the bat high above his helmet and swings at the first pitch, which is absolutely launched to left, looking up at it, and it's gone. No play to make for Eddie Micheletti Jr. Carter Trice, first pitch swinging, sends it deep to left and makes it 2-0 A's with a 2-run home run in the bottom of the first.
That's a righty that likes to pull, and he got a pitch on the inside part of the plate, right in his zone. Chatham, a team that won last time out against Harwich with 10 runs. It seems like their offense is kind of waking up. And now they have a good start tonight against the Firebirds.
Trice, his first home run of the summer. It's his 3rd summer here in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Spent the previous 2 in the West Division with the Katua Cavaliers. 6 home runs in the spring with NC State. Evan Truitt now deals to a 4th man of the order, Nolan Schubert, the DH, and the lefty takes the ball on the inner half of the plate. 1-0. 2 hits for Chatham. The first, a leadoff single for Matthew Etzel. Derek Fabian reached on a fielder's choice. 1-0 pitch, hit right to short on a hop. Drew Farreau fields it, throws the first in time, the Johnny Olmsted 2 away. Fabian reached on a fielder's choice, and then on the first pitch, the righty left fielder, Carter Trice, lifts one high and deep to left to make it 2-0 A's in the bottom of the first. Now it's Lyle Miller Green, the right fielder. Righty on righty. He's had a monster summer here with the A's. Top 10 in the league in batting average, at just over 280. Takes his strike looking 0-1.
If you're Truitt, maybe not the start that you were hoping for.
Popped up, right center field. Oyama backpedaling. He can't make the play. 3 players under it. Nobody makes the snag. Eddie King in center. Jake Casey in right. Joe Oyama back up from second. And it drops in for a bloop single for Lyle Miller Green.
Not the start you want if you're the Firebirds. However, with the fog, along with it just being in no man's land, no one took control. Oyama's going out backpedaling, running backwards, so he doesn't have the greatest look at it. Eddie King, that's probably his ball, but he had to come a long way to shallow right center field. A play maybe should be made, but with the fog, it's very difficult out here with fly balls.
1 on, 2 out. Here's the first baseman, Caden Kent, in a 2-0 game, but Chatham leads in the bottom of the first. Fog has been an issue here from Veterans Field this season. Games have been delayed, postponed, canceled because of it. Truitt, another ball missing on the outside corner to the lefty Kent. Now 2 balls, no strikes. Truitt has been throwing strikes. 15 pitches through 2/3 of an inning, 11 of them for strikes. The 2-0 offering fouled high off the backstop. It deflects back into the grass behind home plate, 2-1.
Truitt's a strike thrower, but now down 2-1 in the count. He's got to be living on the corners.
Caden Kent waves the bat over his left shoulder of a 6'3", 200-pound Texas A&M Aggie. Swings at it, pops it up on the left field line. Jack Penning in foul territory, lunges towards his left, makes the snag, ends the inning, and leaves Lyle Miller Green stranded on first for the A's. But Chatham delivers the first blow in this East Division clash. A 2-run home run. First pitch swinging for Carter Trice against Evan Truitt. And the Anglers take the lead after 1. We'll be back in the top of the second. Orleans in search of a response when we come back on the Birds Broadcast Network. Charlotte right-hander Miles Langhorne went 1-2-3 for the A's in the top of the first, trying to do the same thing in the top of the second, with the Anglers now up 2-0, thanks to a 2-run shot from Carter Trice against Evan Truitt. 4-5-6 due up for the Birds. It starts with the righty Matt Hallback, who takes a ball on the inside corner, 1-0, for the rising junior from UC San Diego. 6 for 11. Over the last week, Hallback has been fantastic for Orleans since coming back from a lower back injury. 2 balls, no strikes. Langhorne misses low and away with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Works quickly and deals on the 2-0. Check swing, doesn't matter. That's a strike. 2-1.
Hallback's been very selective at the plate. It's helped him very, very much in his games with the Firebirds this year.
on a 6-game hit streak on the 2-1. Takes a ball. Number 31 gets ahead 3-1. Langhorne misses low. Readjusts his hat and toes the rubber once more. 3 balls and a strike. Here's the pitch. Hallback swings and misses at a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, low of his own. Counts full.
If you're facing high velocity, you don't have to swing harder. You have to start earlier.
2-0 A's. Hallback, the leadoff man of his second. 3-2. Hit the opposite way and foul. Dylan, a big trend for Hallback early on this Cape League season. The righty sending a lot of balls to right field.
Yep, going the opposite way, continuing to wait on pitches on the outside part of the zone, using an inside-out swing to go the opposite way, and it's been very beneficial for him.
The 6'3", 215-pound Hallback sees the 3-2 pitch, miss up and in, and takes ball 4. You mentioned Hallback very selective, knows the strike zone well, and he earns a leadoff walk. First walk for either team today, 1 on, nobody out, and the tying run comes to the plate in Eddie Micheletti Jr., who's got 2 home runs this season for the Birds.
Micheletti had a really good start to the season, continuing to walk, but pitchers around the league are kind of realizing how much power he brings to the plate. It's hard to even get a pitch in the zone if you're Micheletti Jr. right now.
Langhorne does not deliver a pitch in the zone, misses low with the 95-mile-an-hour fastball. 1-0 to the Delaware native, the 6'1", 205-pound Micheletti Jr., who waves the all-black bat over his left shoulder and doesn't swing at the 1-0 pitch, which misses low and in. Another fastball, does not hit the zone. Runner on first is Hallback with a leadoff walk. He takes his lead, sporting the all-white gloves, lunging and staring down the pitcher Langhorne. The 2-0 to Micheletti, low and in, but it gets the call. 2-1, 3 straight fastballs to start this battle with Micheletti Jr. Just finished up his junior season with George Washington, currently in the transfer portal. Langhorne checks in on Hallback. He slides in head first, safe. Holding him on is Caden Kent, the Texas A&M Aggie, who gets his all-white jersey a little dirty in the infield dirt here from Veterans Field. A foggy Wednesday night, but a packed house. 4th of July yesterday, you could tell. Everybody's out here in Chatham. The 2-1, launched to right, down for a hit from Eddie Micheletti Jr. Matt Hallback, he's on his way to third, and runners on the corners for Orleans. He's in there standing. Throw cut off in the infield by Derek Fabian at short. A single for Eddie Micheletti, and Dylan, he needed that one. He was only 2 for his last 17 headed into tonight.
And he did what he did best. Sees a few pitches, sees Langhorne's tendencies, and gets a fastball that he can pull right through the hole between Donahue at second, Kent at first. The Firebirds are set up after really good base running as well by Hallback to go first to third.
So here's Eddie King Jr., rather. Eddie Micheletti on first, Matt Hallback on third. Runners on the corners, nobody out. And Langhorne deals to the righty King, who takes a first pitch strike 0-1.
That was a curveball from Langhorne. We've mostly seen a lot of fastballs, but now in a jam, first and third, nobody out. It's going to go to the opposite stuff.
26 pitches for Langhorne, 13 strikes. Pitch number 27, a breaking ball, you mentioned, going to other offerings. And for another strike, looking to Eddie King Jr. No balls, 2 strikes to the 6'2", 195-pound righty. Hallback off third, Micheletti off first. Nobody out, 2-0 A's. Langhorne's 0-2. Swung on, missed. King goes down on 3 pitches. Strikeout number 1 for Langhorne, and he needed it with 2 on and now 1 away in the top of the second.
3 pitches, 3 of the same pitch, 3 curveballs that got King. There's a team that needs to commit to the fastball and adjust to the off-speed, and Langhorne now clearly feeling the off-speed. If I'm the next hitters for the Firebirds, I'm expecting a curveball coming in soon.
Owen Carpellotti, the lefty, shows bunt, lays it down fair down the first base line. Hallback slides in safe to home, and the throw to first is not caught by Caden Kent. Carpellotti takes off for second, and now Eddie Micheletti at third as it's 1-0 Orleans. 2-1 rather, after that 2-run shot from Carter Trice in the bottom of the first inning. But Orleans claps back with a run in the top of the second. A bunt turns into a run scored, and a little bit more from Owen Carpellotti.
Tom Holliday's coming out and arguing runner's interference, that he was not in the baseline, which threw off the throw from Langhorne. It wasn't a long one. It was maybe 10, 15 feet throw. We've seen this play over and over in the pros. Of course, Carpellotti has to stay within the foul line and the other chalk line, which is the runner's lane. And now a meeting between the umpires to see if that is the case.
Holliday, the fifth-year manager of the A's, heads back to the dugout on the left side of the field after a quick conversation with Mickey Garcia. Carpellotti on second, Micheletti on third. 2-1, Chatham still in front, and now all the umpires conferencing near first base. Garcia, the home plate ump, Jeff Merzel at first tonight, Steve Kalenda at third. Dylan, what did you see there? Did you believe it was runner's interference?
I don't, but I also realize that it's such a tough call. You have Carpellotti going full bore, full speed. The second baseman, Donahue, had to go over and cover the bag as well. A lot of moving parts. Was it just the throw into Carpellotti's back? Was his arm in the way? You can bring up a certain 2004 Bronson Arroyo and A-Rod in the ALCS in Game 6 when he slapped the ball out of the glove. Langhorne clearly thinks that he was in the way after he made the throw. He's gesturing toward the bag. This is never an easy call and could go either way. I truly think so.
Mickey Garcia, Jeff Merzel, Steve Kalenda still talking over a potential ruling. Garcia now redirecting traffic along the base path, says the original call overruled. Kelly Nicholson, Orleans' 18th year manager, not a fan, and now he wants a word with both Garcia and Merzel along the first base line. So Hallback heads from the dugout back to the base paths after he scored what would have been Orleans' first run of the game.
This is what's the most frustrating thing, is that this play automatically, it's almost like Carpellotti struck out. Everyone goes back to their original bases, and it's just another out on the board for the Firebirds, which is not what it should be. I mean, Carpellotti put down a bunt, Hallback scored, and then 5 seconds later the ball goes into right field. If anything, you want to make a call, Carpellotti's out, Micheletti's at second. I mean, it's back to the rules, of course, of the game. Now no runs on the board for the Firebirds. But Kelly Nicholson doesn't understand, and I agree with him. He's pointing at home plate. He's pointing at third base. Why should my runner be sent back to third? Why should my runner be sent back to first after the run was already scored and then the play happened?
Kelly Nicholson is livid. That's something that's very difficult to do. He gets a few extra words in with both Mickey Garcia and Jeff Merzel. Still talking with Garcia as he brushes off home plate. Cannot believe the call. Originally looked like a bunt single for Owen Carpellotti and a throw to first from Caden Hobson to Caden Kent that was not caught. Carpellotti headed to second, Micheletti to third, and the runner on third originally, Matt Hallback, scored to make it 2-1 Chatham, but as you said, now it's going to go down as Carpellotti runner's interference. 2 outs on the board. Drew Farrow, the switch-hitting shortstop at the plate. Kelly Nicholson returns to the dugout, takes his spot on the bucket he's been sitting on all game, had a few extra words with first base ump Jeff Merzel. No ejection, even after a long talking to from Nicholson to the officials, and that run wiped off the board for Orleans. So runners on the corners, 2 out, 2-0 Chatham, top 2. Langhorne deals, foul tip from Farrow, 0-1.
I mean, that's a complete game changer. You go from Carpellotti laying down a great bunt on a safety squeeze that allowed Hallback to come in and score the first run for Orleans, and now they're back to 0, and now 2 outs, and bunt is out of the equation.
Farrow quickly goes behind 0-2. Nicholson pacing around the dugout, putting his hands to his sides, talking with pitching coach Jim Lawler. He can't believe it. 2 on, 2 out, 2-0 Chatham. Top 2, Langhorns 0-2, skips in the dirt and nearly gets by Hobson behind the dish, but he keeps it in front of him, and Matt Hallback stays at third. Again, Hallback just a few moments ago thought he was sliding in the home plate safely on a safety squeeze from Owen Carpellotti, but Carpellotti headed to first, called for runner's interference. Originally that was not the call, but Tom Holliday had to say the officials conference and overruled it. So it's 2-0 Chatham. Farrow, the bottom man in the order, second to last man in the order, rather. for Kelly Nicholson tonight. The shortstop and Florida native, transferring to Florida State next year after a season with UCF. The 1-2 launched on a hop to second and tossed to short in time to force out Eddie Micheletti Jr. and another scoreless frame for Miles Langhorne. 5 minutes ago, I wouldn't have said that, but runner's interference costs Orleans a run. And after 1.5, Chatham keeps its 2-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the second on the Birds Broadcast Network. On the Birds Broadcast Network in the bottom of the second, and after runner's interference wiped a run off the board in the top of the frame for Orleans, Kelly Nicholson still having words with first base umpire Jeff Merzel right in front of Orleans' dugout on the right side of the field. That conversation ends. Nicholson got a lot off his chest. Not ejected. Merzel and home plate umpire Mickey Garcia hearing him out after a call that originally was in favor of the Firebirds. Tom Holliday had a word with the officials. They conferenced, overruled it. Runner's interference on Owen Carpellotti wiped the run off a board that was scored by Matt Hallback. Evan Truitt on the mound for his second inning in a row. Down 2-0 after giving up a 2-run shot to left to Carter Trice in the bottom of the first. He delivers a first pitch strike to the lefty second baseman Kyson Donahue, wearing the black arm sleeve on his left arm. The 0-1 pitch upstairs. A ball and a strike to the redshirt junior from Hawaii. A Hawaii native from Honolulu. Spent his first 3 years collegiately, though, with the University of Arizona. The 1-1 lands in the upper third of the zone on the 80-mile-an-hour breaking ball, 1-2.
If you're Truitt, you want to definitely put that first inning behind you.
1-2 fouled off to left. The count stays. A ball and 2 strikes to Donahue.
You want to throw strikes, you want to attack hitters, especially now in the bottom 3 of the order for the Anglers.
Bottom 3 includes Kyson Donahue, Aiden Mayola, and Caden Hobson. Truitt's 1-2. On the ground, it gets past Truitt and bobbled by Drew Farreau at short, ranging towards his left. Had it in his glove, lost it on the transfer, and making his way to first safely is Donahue. Interesting to see if they rule it a hit or an E6. It is ruled a hit for Donahue. So that's already the 4th in just an inning for the Chatham offense, which was last in the league in runs scored headed into the ninth.
Tough play for Farreau. Like you said, he had to move behind second base, transfer, and make an accurate throw. A lot to ask for the shortstop. Don't think he would have even caught the runner, even with a good throw.
So the runner on first is Donahue on the infield single. Now Aiden Mayola, the third baseman, righty on righty at the plate. He takes his strike on the inner half, which evens the count. A ball and a strike. Chatham trying to add on to a 2-0 advantage in the bottom of the second after a 2-run home run from Carter Trice last inning. The 1-1 swung on, ripped to Jack Penny. He backhanded at third, throws the second for 1, and the splits from Olmstead at first, but he couldn't keep the ball in his glove. Beating it out for a fielder's choice is Aiden Mayola. Retired on the force out at second is Donahue. 1 on, 1 out. Still 2-0 A's in the bottom of the second.
What a play by Penny. A backhand stab on the short hop at third. Makes an accurate throw to Oyama at second. He has been just dazzling over at third, making play after play.
The rising junior from Notre Dame has been solid from the plate, even better defensively for Orleans. Here's the bottom man of the order, the lefty catcher, Caden Hobson, who takes his strike looking on the first pitch from Truitt. 0-1, that 90-mile-an-hour fastball up in the zone. Runner on first is Mayola, who just reached on the fielder's choice after the 5-4 putout to retire Kyson Donahue, headed to second. The 0-1 pitch, too high, snagged by Carpellotti. 1-1.
Truitt has a great defense behind him, and he has to trust him. You don't want to put a pitch right down the middle like you did to Trice back in the first, but live on the corners and get weak contact. The defense is behind you.
Hobson swings through the 1-1 pitch. 89-mile-an-hour fastball, high in the zone. Goes behind 1-2. The 6'2", 215-pound catcher does. Wearing the all-blue undershirt with the blue, white, and red batting gloves. Holds the bat almost still right above the left side of his head. Throw back to first, checking in on Mayola is Truitt. He gets it right back from Olmsted. 2-0 A's, bottom 2. Carter Trice, a 2-run home run on the left off Truitt in the bottom of the first to give Chatham the lead. A ball and 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. On the outer half, strike 3 looking. Truitt, his first strikeout. It's a backwards K to the bottom man of the order, Caden Hobson.
Don't think the home plate umpire, Gandela, thought or knew it was strike 3. Rang him up like it was strike 2. But yes, 3 strikes, and Truitt, a big strikeout. Now let's go back to the top.
Back to the top of the order with Matthew Etzel, who singled to start this game last inning. First pitch swinging opposite way, dropping in the left. Over, it is Micheletti Jr. He makes the catch, ends the inning, and leaves Aiden Mayola stranded along the base pass for Chatham. Truitt works out of some trouble in the bottom of his second, keeps it 2-0 Chatham after 2 on the Birds Broadcast Network. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Welcome back to the Birds Broadcast Network. I'm Sammy Miller. Chatham is up 2-0, heading to the top of the third. Before the game, I spoke with the Firebirds bullpen coach Cole Cook, who said that their starter tonight, Evan Truitt, is their most reliable player who pitches the most like a professional pitcher in terms of how he goes about pitching. Coach went on to say that he's always working on something new to enhance his game, and that when his stuff is on, it is on and lights out. Evan is taking this summer very seriously and knows the impact he makes when he is the one setting the tone early on in the game as the first arm on the bump. Guys, back to you.
Sammy, 2 completely different pitchers on the mound tonight. One in Evan Truitt, who might not throw the hardest, Dylan, but is really maxed out what he has and is in great control of his stuff. The other guy, Miles Langhorne, a lot of room to grow, but his stuff is nasty.
Yeah, it's 2 different type of pitchers. You have Truitt, who gets weak contact. He's not going to blow 99 past you. And then Langhorne, who has the velocity but has not gotten a lot of the results yet so far in his career. 2 different pitchers who get outs in different ways.
Langhorne delivers a ball on his first pitch to the bottom man of the order for Orleans, Jake Casey, the left-handed right fielder. He swings at the second pitch and fouls it away. 1-1. Casey trying to get things back on track this summer. He is tied for first on Orleans in home runs with 2, but a batting average under 200 so far this season for the rising junior from Kent State. The 1-1 breaking ball misses low. 2-1. Orleans trails 2-0 in the top of the third, just 1 hit through 2 innings. The 2-1 from Langhorne. Another low miss. snagged by his UNC Charlotte teammate behind the dish, Caden Hobson. 3 balls and a strike.
Not too bad. Come to summer ball and have the same catcher that you're working with in the college season.
The 3-1, also snagged by Hobson, but also low of the zone once again. Langhorne looks a bit frustrated out on the mound. He just patted his hands on his legs, frustrated with the call. The 5-pitch leadoff walk for Jake Casey, and the second walk handed out in 2 innings by Langhorne.
Second walk, and both of them to lead off an inning. Second inning and now third inning. Can the Firebirds make use of it?
Orleans had runners on the corners with 1 out last inning, but runner's interference was called on Owen Carpellotti after he bunted and tried it over to first. Matt Hallback scored, and the run was waved off the board. Back to the top of the order with the lefty Joe Oyama, who showed bunt, pulled it back, and blocked up a heater in the dirt from Langhorne. Hobson with a great slide to his right to keep it in front of him and also keep Jake Casey, who's got some good speed, at first.
Hobson, so reliable back there. Langhorne has to be thanking everything that he has a catcher like Hobson back there, because he can throw the curveball in the dirt like he just did, the slider, the changeup, the off-speed that he can throw and have no worry about it getting past his catcher is such a valuable piece.
The 1-0 pitch, cut on, fouled off the left. Ball and a strike to Oyama, who's 0 for 1 tonight with a ground out to second in the first. 1 on, nobody out, 2-0 A's top 3. The Charlotte battery of Caden Hobson behind the dish and Miles Langhorne on the mound, trying to provide Tom Holliday's crew with a 3rd shutout inning to start this game. The A's just 6-13-1 through the first 20 games of the year. The 1-1, low miss. Oyama gets ahead, 2 balls a strike.
Oyama is laying off the curveballs that Langhorne is providing. That pitch he really found in the second inning of a strikeout against Eddie King. 3 pitches in that at-bat, 3 curveballs. Now can he continue to throw them for strikes? That's the question.
The 2-1 on the ground towards second. Throw to second for 1 and throw to first. Not in time to retire Oyama. Force out of Jake Casey. A 4-6 put out between Kyson Donahue and Derek Fabian. But Oyama with great speed at first beats out the throw from Fabian to Kent. 1 on, 1 out. Oyama gets on with a fielder's choice.
Let's see if Oyama tries to run here. Firebirds did not have a great opportunity to run last time here against Chatham. They only had 2 base runners the entire game.
Oyama 3 for 6 on stolen base attempts this summer. Brody Brecht and Matthew Tugboat Wilkinson put on an absolute pitching clinic in the first meetup. Johnny Olmstead, the righty from USC, takes a ball. Langhorne misses low with the 95-mile-an-hour fastball, 1-0. 2-0 Chatham, top 3. Only 1 hit tonight for Orleans. Back-to-back games with double-digit hits, trying to wake up from a foggy Veterans Field. The 1-0, high. Oyama took a large lead off second. Donahue scared him back to the bag. Or rather, Hobson behind the dish. 2 balls, no strikes.
A single by Hyde and a walk to Jack Penny. Those were the only 2 base runners in the first meeting.
Wilkinson was named the league's pitcher of the week for 5 perfect frames out of a bullpen. The 2-0 checked on, and 3 balls, no strikes, as the check swing did not go in front of home plate from Olmstead, according to the first base umpire, Jeff Merzel. 3-0. Oyama on first, thanks to a fielder's choice, which led to Jake Casey being retired at second. The tying run at the plate in Johnny Olmstead. He's got 2 home runs on the year for Orleans. The 3-0 in for a strike, 3-1.
Olmstead now in a hitter's count. He almost went deep last time up. See if he can put a good swing on one.
A big fly that died right ahead of the track into the glove of Matthew Etzel in left center field. Olmstead with multiple hits in 3 of his last 4 games. Oyama takes off for second. And meanwhile, Olmstead slaps it through the hole and in the left for a base hit. But Oyama slides on his way to third and retreats to second. And Olmstead parks himself at first with a 1-out single. Second hit of the night for Orleans, who now has the tying run at the plate, or on base rather.
Back-to-back times that Langhorne has fallen behind in the count, and that will draw a mound visit for him.
Mound visit for Tom Holliday, his first of the day. Langhorne has not pitched more than 3 innings in any of his 3 appearances this season, 2 out of a bullpen, 1 as a starter. He's gotten through 2 1/3 scoreless tonight from Chatham, a foggy Wednesday evening from Veterans Field. Langhorne has had a bit of an issue throwing strikes tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much even. 24 strikes, 23 balls, and a few walks thrown in there. A haulback walk in the second, a walk to Jake Casey to start this 3rd inning, and then hits to Micheletti Jr. and Olmsted after he fell behind in the count twice. This is a long, long mound visit here. Not sure if it's going to be the hook for Langhorne.
No arm coming out of the bullpen for Chatham.
Maybe looking to get him a few more warm-up tosses in the bullpen. Just a little bit of a, let's talk about this. How were you? How was your off day yesterday? This and that. And now Langhorne will come off the mound.
He doesn't look happy. Langhorne waves his hands at his sides. Says some words back towards the mound before he heads to the dugout on the left side of the field. Miles Langhorne done after 2 1/3 scoreless, but he leaves the game with runners on first and second, 1 out. I'm right back on the Birds Broadcast Network. Top of the 3rd on the Birds Broadcast Network. Thanks so much for joining us on a foggy Wednesday night. Veterans Field, a packed house, and a new pitcher in the game. Dylan Miles Langhorne given the hook by Tom Holliday after 2 1/3 scoreless, but he leaves runners on first and second. Tough situation to walk into if you're Xander Sechrist, who's an amazing pitcher out of Tennessee, but has struggled so far here on the Cape this summer.
Only one start, or one appearance, I should say, for Sechrist. Out of Tennessee, like you said, Ian, a lefty on the mound against Falmouth in a 13-4 loss. He came in 1 inning, 5 earned, around 6 hits, 2 walks. He's looking to get some revenge here against Orleans.
This past season with the Vols of Tennessee, he was fantastic. A 2.05 ERA in the SEC, 23 appearances, 12 of them out of the bullpen, 30.2 innings pitched, 32 strikeouts, only 5 walks, trying to put that tough start to the summer behind him. With Joe Oyama on second, Johnny Olmsted on first, and Jack Penny at the plate. Behind the count, 0-1. His first pitch is popped up and over the backstop foul. 0-2. 2 on, 1 out, 2-0. Chatham in front with the new pitcher Xander Sechrist. In the top of the 3rd, he replaced Miles Langhorne. Lefty on lefty. Sechrist, the rising senior from Georgia, deals and misses upstairs, a ball and 2 strikes to Penny.
He's bringing about 91, 92 out of the pen from the left side. This is big as the next two hitters, or next 2 out of 3 hitters, I should say, for the Firebirds are lefties, Penny, Micheletti Jr.
2 on, 1 out. Sechrist for 1-2 offering. It's blooping in the right field. And it's gone in right field. Jack Penny breaks a ball through the fog for a bomb. And Orleans takes the lead in the top of the third. 3-2 with Jack Penny's second long ball of the summer. Johnny Olmstead, Joe Oyama, and of course Penny come home to score on the third hit of the night for Orleans.
First time in for Sechrist tonight, and the 4th pitch is over the wall. Great job by Penny. Stays on the off-speed pitch. Line drive to right center field, and just sneaks over the wall. What's with Jack Penny and hitting clutch go-ahead home runs?
The second of the year for Orleans. The 2 runs that Langhorne left on base will be charged against him for his 2 1/3 innings of work. And the last one charged against Sechrist. Matt Holback on the 0-1 pitch, lines one in the left, and has a hit for the 7th game in a row. 4th hit of the game for Orleans. It's a 1-out single for the California native. And Sechrist continuing to struggle in his second appearance for Chatham this summer.
First it was Penny, then Holback. Takes a high fastball at the top of the zone, lines it in the left field. This Orleans team had chances in the second. Now they're really starting to hit here in the third.
Both teams with 4 hits on the game. And the Birds now with the 3-2 lead in the top of the third. After a 3-run blast to right through the fog here in Chatham from Jack Penny. Sechrist checks in on Holback, who stands up at first, gets back there safely. Now faces Eddie Micheletti, who singled his first time up and was left stranded last inning. Lefty on lefty. Sechrist deals and lands a strike 0-1. The lefty.
Micheletti really putting together some good at-bats lately. Now has to face a tough lefty, and with Holback on first base, there's a lot of power in that swing. Don't be afraid to let it one go.
2 home runs, 8 RBIs on the year for Eddie Micheletti. Miss on the outside corner to the lefty, 1-1. Obviously a matchup that favors Sechrist as a lefty. The only reason he throws with his left hand is because when he was 2 years old, he broke his right arm. And ever since has done everything left-handed, or at least pitching-wise. 1 on, 1 out, 1 ball, 1 strike. Micheletti jammed up on a pitch on the inner half, flinched like it hit him, but it didn't. He gets ahead in the count 2-1. Steps back into the left-handed batter's box. Draws something on home plate. Holds the bat in his right hand, waves it around, levitates it above his left shoulder. Holback off first, 1 out. 3-2 Orleans, top 3. Sechrist for 2-1. Fastball in for strike 2 looking.
When Micheletti's at his best, just like Holback, both of these guys, they go to the opposite field. They take an outside pitch, they line it to left. In Micheletti's case, Holback's case, of course, as a righty, goes to right field.
1 on, 1 out. 3-2 Orleans, top 3 of a 2-2. Misses low despite a frame job from Hobson. Full count.
What a surprise. Micheletti Jr. in another full count, says nobody.
One of the 25 toughest guys to strike out in all of college baseball with George Washington this past spring. Now on the payoff pitch, he's popped up in the infield, shallow right field, and at second, Kyson Donahue snags it with his left-handed glove in the outfield grass just in front of the infield dirt. 2 away, and Holback stays at first in a 3-2 game that favors the Birds.
A good at-bat by Micheletti. Ian, we've talked about the increase and improvement in terms of the at-bats that the Firebirds have taken. That's one where Micheletti draws it out 6, 7 pitches. Maybe doesn't get the result that he wants, but really puts an effort because Sechrist now has to throw more and more stress pitches.
12 pitches for Sechrist. Pitch number 13 misses low to a righty Micheletti, or I should say King. 1-0. I'm getting my Eddies mixed up tonight. That's what happened when you put back-to-back Eddie Juniors in the order. Kelly Nicholson did this evening. 1 on, 2 out. 3-2 Orleans, top 3. Holback off first. Pitch on the way, swung on and crushed the left from Eddie King Jr. Looking up at it, it is gone. Home run number 1 on the summer for Eddie King Jr. And it's a 2-run shot to extend the lead, 5-2 Orleans in the top of the third. what a few games it's been for Eddie King Jr. Had his first 2 RBIs of the season in the win on Monday against Hyannis, and there's 2 more with a 2-run shot here from Chatham.
What a shot. Right off the bat, you knew it was gone to left center. He pulls the fastball against the lefty. Eddie King really coming on as of late. His first extra base hit as well, so it can really get him going in terms of his power that we know he has in his possession, in his toolbox.
No balls and a strike to the catcher, Owen Carpellotti. 5-2 Orleans, top 3. Swing and a miss from Big O. 0-2, the base is clear and 2 out. 2 home runs in this inning for the Birds. A 3-run shot to right from Jack Penny. A 2-run shot to left center from Eddie King Jr. Both of them against the new pitcher in the ballgame from Tennessee, in Zach Sechrist. Strike 3 swinging, dropped by Hobson behind the dish. He throws to first and retires Carpellotti. This game flipped on its head. Orleans was upset it didn't get a run in the top of the second. Now they've got to be overjoyed. They've scored 5 in the top of the third with 2 long balls from Jack Penny and Eddie King Jr. It's 5-2 Birds as we go to the bottom of the third on the Birds Broadcast Network.
Shortstop from the University of
2, 3, and 4 due up for the Chatham A's as we return on the Birds Broadcast Network in the bottom of the third. 2 home runs at the top of the frame for Orleans. A 3-run shot for Jack Penny. A 2-run shot for Eddie King Jr. It's now 5-2 Orleans. Evan Truitt still on the mound for his 3rd inning of work. The rising junior from Charleston Southern has given up 4 hits and 2 runs through 2 frames and now faces Derek Fabian, who takes on the 1-0 pitch and gets ahead 2-0 as Truitt misses outside of a righty. Takes off his hat, walks around the mound, and gets back on the rubber trying to get back in this at-bat. 2 balls, no strikes. Here's the pitch. Swung on and fouled away. Gets out of a glove of Carpellotti, 2-1.
If you're Truitt, you just get a 5 spot on the scoreboard, a long inning. He's got to start to get warm a little bit more, throw some strikes, even though you're facing 2, 3, 4 in the Chatham order. A lot of dangerous bats. You want to try your best to not give any free passes up.
The 2-1 pitch. Misses high. He's a ball away now from handing out a free pass. 3-1 to the second man of the order leading off in the bottom of the third for Chatham and Derek Fabian. Reached on a fielder's choice in the first inning. Came around the score on the 2-run home run from Carter Trice, the third man of the order. 3 balls and 2 strikes now as he fouls a pitch to the backstop and readjusts his right batting glove. Truitt shakes his right shoulder, nods his head at Carpellotti, kicks and deals a payoff pitch, fouled away. Truitt, 36 pitches in, 26 of them for strikes.
Now he needs to find a way to put away a few of these Chatham hitters. Getting them to 2 strikes. How do you attack a guy? How do you get him out?
The payoff pitch does not get Derek Fabian out. Missed upstairs with the 79-mile-an-hour breaking ball. It's a leadoff walk for the A's. First of the night, handed out by Evan Truitt.
Not how you want to start an inning after getting a 5 spot. But Truitt has to continue to attack here. This game kind of reminds me of the Wareham game a little bit. well, other than the weather that was foggy as well over there.
Yes.
But Truitt, who started that game earlier in the season, got spotted a lead. Now he has to find a way to pitch with one. He also got a lot of run support against Brewster. He was the starting pitcher in the 13-2 win. What was that, a 7 or 8 spot that night?
Run support certainly helps, but it's not the end-all be-all. No balls in a strike to the left fielder, Carter Trice. Righty on righty. Pops one up foul the opposite way. 0-2. His first at bat gave Chatham the lead. A 2-run home run on the first pitch off Evan Truitt in the first inning that gave Chatham a 2-0 lead. Orleans now a 5-2 lead after 2 home runs of its own in the top of the inning. Both of them off Evan Zekrist. Jack Penny and Eddie King Jr. going deep. The 0-2 fouled off to the backstop. Count stays 0 balls, 2 strikes. 1 on, nobody out after the leadoff walk from Derek Fabian. He's on first. 5 runs off 5 hits tonight, no errors for Orleans. 2 runs off 4 hits tonight, no errors for Chatham on a foggy night. The 0-2 blooped right into the glove of Johnny Olmstead at first. He steps on the bag for the double play. What an unfortunate ending to that at bat for Carter Trice. A check swing lined right into the glove of Johnny Olmstead at first. And with a large lead off first, headed to second, Derek Fabian forced out. And that's about the easiest double play Johnny Olmstead's ever going to have to turn.
Look at that, a 3-U DP. Incredible. But right at first base, the runner Fabian couldn't do anything about it. He was already into his secondary lead. Olmstead, easy catch, easy tag of the bag, and really, really good for Evan Truitt.
Now it's for lefty Nolan Schubert, who grounded out to short his first time up, pops a pitch foul and out of play, goes behind 0-1.
That was 94 from Truitt.
He usually maxes out around 93, 94, throwing his best stuff here in the bottom of the 3rd inning, trying to protect a 5-2 Orleans lead. 0-1 pitch, misses outside. Evens the count to the 6'5", 220-pound outfielder who just finished up his freshman season at Oklahoma State, a program that's obviously well known here in Chatham. The 1-1 misses high, 2-1. Tom Holliday, a longtime assistant coach with the Cowboys. His son Josh Holliday, the current head coach with Oklahoma State. Bases empty, 2 out. Truitt's 2-1. Breaking ball in for a strike, 2-2.
Nasty changeup at the bottom of the zone for Truitt. Now does he go back to it, get the swing and the miss, or maybe the high fastball to the lefty?
Truitt kicks, deals the 2-2, and retires the lefty with a foul tip into the glove of Owen Carpellotti. A 3-U double play, and then a strikeout swinging for Nolan Schubert. And Truitt gets out of the 3rd inning of work, giving up 2 runs in the first, but throwing up a couple zeros in the 2nd, and now in the 3rd. It stays 5-2 Birds as we go to the top of the 4th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the top of the 4th. Thanks so much for joining us. It's a foggy Wednesday night from Chatham. It was a clear 3rd inning for Orleans. 2 home runs, one from Jack Penny, one from Eddie King Jr. Both of them off pitches from Xander Zekrist who returns to the rubber and faces 8-9-1, starting with the switch-hitting shortstop, Drew Farreau, who's going to bat righty against the lefty and fall behind 0-1 as he looks at a strike.
Here's a guy the Firebirds definitely want to start to get going. It's been a lot of potential from Drew. He's shown a lot of flashes this year. It's about being consistent with what he can bring to the table.
A ball and a strike to the Tallahassee, Florida native, transferring to Florida State next year. The 1-1 from Zekris, foul to right, 1-2. Caden Kent gave it chase, ran out of room. Farreau, 0 for 1 tonight. He grounded out to short, his first time up. Hitting just around 200 on the year for Kelly Nicholson's crew after a monster freshman season with the University of Central Florida. The 1-2 pitch misses low. It's ball 2. Evens up the count to the 6'3", 190-pound switch hitter. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. Fouled away to right. Base is clear, nobody out as Farreau leads off for Orleans, trying to add on to a 5-2 lead in the top of the 4th.
Zekris is in a position right now. He just has to eat innings, try to get as many outs as he can, even though it's not his day and he hasn't had his best stuff.
The 2-2 is ripped to left field at the track, backing up to his left and making a catch. It's Carter Trice. A good swing, but not a great result for Drew Farreau. He's put away, and that's 1 away here at the top of the 4th.
A great swing by Farreau. From the right side, we usually see him from the left side, but because Zekris is, of course, a lefty, a great swing on the off-speed pitch, lines it to left, but just no luck for Drew right now.
Jay Casey, a lefty-lefty battle against Zekris, who deals. First pitch swinging. Casey misses a breaking ball. 0-1 to the Pittsburgh native. Base is clear, 1 out. Zekris kicks, deals the 0-2. Missing low with his own 1-1. About 10 yards away from us, to our right, Jake's father, Sean, here in attendance tonight. The 3-time MLB All-Star and the Reds Hall of Famer. Foul ball pulled down the right field line. 1-2.
We'll have to see if maybe we can even get him on the broadcast one day.
A little dialed in right now watching his son, but Sean knows this league well. Is a Cape Cod Baseball League Hall of Famer. Played for the Brewster Whitecaps. The 1-2 pitch. Down the middle, strike 3 looking. Casey, a backwards K. He goes down on 4 pitches. That's now 2 away. In the top of the 4th, Orleans still up 5-2.
A lot of soft stuff to start the at-bat for Casey, and then he just got a fastball right down the middle that he couldn't do anything with.
Another lefty to deal with for Zekris. Back to the top of the order, it's Joe Oyama, who looks at a ball that misses outside, 1-0. Base is empty, 2 out. 5-2 Orleans, top 4. All 5 of the Birds' runs coming off 2 home runs last inning off of Zekris. The 1-0, fastball. Doesn't get the call, low of his own. 2 balls, no strikes. Oyama grounded out in the 1st. Reached on a fielder's choice in the 3rd. The league leader in many stats, including batting average, headed into tonight. The 2-0, grounded right towards 2nd. Throw to 1st in time. It's the 2nd time tonight Joe Oyama has grounded out to the 2nd baseman, Kyson Donahue. 1-2-3 goes Xander Zekris. He settles in the top of the 4th. Still a 5-2 game in favor of Orleans after 3.5. We'll be right back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the bottom of the inning. Bottom of the fourth on the Birds Broadcast Network. A foggy Wednesday night from Chatham. Orleans a 5-2 lead in search of its third straight win and its first on the year against the Anglers. Evan Truitt still on the mound for his fourth inning of work. He faces 5, 6, and 7 for Chatham A's, and it starts with Miller Green. The righty looks at a strike in the lower third of the zone, 0-1. Miller Green, the right fielder, singled his first time up in the first inning. His second season, actually his third season, check that, with Chatham. Another strike, this time on the upper third of his zone, the fastball at 91. Truitt ahead 0-2. End of a windup, here's the pitch. Low. Ball one. Miller Green, not well traveled on the Cape. He stayed with the same team for 3 years, but well traveled at the collegiate level. Currently with Austin Peay, but that's not where he began his collegiate journey. The 1-2, popped foul to right. Count stays the same. Began with George Mason in 2020. Funny enough, a George Mason Patriot currently getting warm in the bullpen for Orleans. It's Connor Eaton. Then went to the JUCO level with Chippewa Junior College. Then went to Oklahoma State 2022, now at Austin Peay. The 1-2, low. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
What about the fact that he didn't even start his life in America yet?
Well, that's true. Did not start his journey of life in Virginia area or Oklahoma. Began it in Siberia, in Russia. There's strike 3 looking. A backwards K for Evan Truitt. Back-to-back strikeouts, and the Charleston Southern pitcher's third of the night to set the tone in the bottom of the fourth and cap a solid outing because Callie Nicholson makes his way to the mound and calls to the bullpen, calls upon the services of a new pitcher with a couple lefties, 3 of the next 4. A lefty is going to come in the game and replace for righty Evan Truitt. You'll find out who it is when we return in just a moment. On the Birds Broadcast Network, Orleans, a 5-2 lead. Due up for Chatham being lefties. A lefty now toes the rubber for Orleans. Connor Eaton gets the call out of a bullpen and faces the 6th man of the order, Caden Kent, who takes the ball 1-0 and steps back into the left-handed batter's box with the bases empty and 1 out. In the bottom of the fourth. Fastball in for a strike for Connor Eaton. It's now a ball and a strike and a count. The Kent name familiar. You might know it. You might think, is there a relation to Jeff Kent? The answer is yes, there is. 2 balls and a strike, Caden, the son of the 19-year major leaguer and the former NL MVP back in 2000. Just finished up his freshman season with Texas A&M. Eager to play out here on the Cape. He played under 30 games as a freshman. Line drive to right field. It's down for a base hit. Gets over the head of a leaping Joe Oyama at second. Thrown back in by Jake Casey, another son of a major leaguer. Into the infield. A 1-out single on the 5th hit of the night for Chatham. First hit for Kent.
Good piece of hitting, and Oyama right over his head. Eaton last time out didn't have his best stuff. It was against Bourne 4 days ago. Came in at a 2-run lead, guarding that in the bottom of the 8th over at Doran Park. Got unlucky, a few infield singles. The defense didn't help him out either. 5 hits, 4 runs. Ended up, the Orleans Firebirds did, losing that game 6-5.
Pinch hitter in the game for Tom Holliday. It's Chris Maldonado pinch hitting for Kyson Donahue, the second baseman. A righty comes up against the lefty Eaton. Eaton misses inside to the new man of the game, Chris Maldonado, 1-0. He is pinch hitting for Donahue, who was a lefty, so Tom Holliday playing the matchup game early after the leadoff single from Caden Kent. 5-2 Orleans, bottom 4. Fastball is cracked foul the opposite way. Ball and a strike to the freshman from Vanderbilt. Maldonado was a stud coming out of Seton Hall Prep in New Jersey. Was a top 10 prospect in the country. Made 39 starts for the Commodores in the spring. Hit .310 with a .953 OPS. 1 on, 1 out, 1 ball, 1 strike. The new pitcher Eaton deals, misses inside, and gets the new man of the game, Maldonado, to turn his back to him. A little bit of brush back. 2-1. 5-2 on a cloudy night. The 2-1 pitch. Orleans in the lead. And the lead in the count is Maldonado, 3-1. Low miss from Eaton. Runner on first is Caden Kent. He's singled to right. The 3-1 pitch, swung on and missed. 3-2.
Eaton at times had struggled with his control, mostly against lefties. It's inside to righties is where he misses. When he's on, though, and he can flash that slider at any time, it's a lot of swing and miss.
1 on, 1 out, and a payoff pitch coming in Maldonado's direction. Low and in, ball 4.
Hit him in the foot.
Regardless if it was a ball or if it hit him, he gets the free bag. Got him on the left foot as he hops his way over to first. He's all good. But Connor Eaton, after allowing 4 earned runs in his last appearance, a road loss to Bourne on Saturday. Struggling coming out of a bullpen for Evan Truitt right now. He's allowed 2 straight to reach. Trying to settle it back in against Aiden Mayola. Delivers a first pitch strike.
When you think of a lefty, where Eaton misses a lot is across his body. So that's inside to righties and outside to lefties. A little bit interesting. Sometimes it's harder to throw to your arm side if you're a pitcher. That's where they usually struggle. For Eaton, it's the opposite.
Miss upstairs. Now a ball and a strike. To the third baseman, who reached on a fielder's choice his first time up. Righty on lefty. Eaton the disadvantage. The tying run at the plate. 5-2 Orleans, bottom 4. Eaton deals, misses up and away with the fastball. Rather the off-speed pitch. 2-1.
Eaton's got to find the zone and fast. Orleans is up 3, but putting runners on is never a good strategy.
2 runners on, first and second for Chatham, 1 out. Orleans trying to keep the lead in the bottom of the 4th. Eaton looks at second, now to the plate, deals. Misses low and in, scampering out of a way of a ball, Mayola. 3-1. Connor Eaton a ball away from loading the bases. Has not recorded an out since he entered the ball game in relief of Evan Truitt a few minutes ago. Giving up back-to-back singles, or a single and a walk, rather. The single to Kent, the walk of Maldonado. The pitch fouled away. Counts full. In search of his second out of the inning.
Eaton's fastball is getting fouled off. He's got to go to the off-speed. He's got to go to the slider. He can bury it to the back foot of a righty.
Eaton gets the sign at the belt. The payoff pitch, low and in, ball 4. Bases loaded for Chatham. After 3 straight base runners reach on the rising junior from George Mason, Connor Eaton. And another pinch hitter in the game. Hudson White. And it makes sense because although Caden Hobson is very good behind the dish, Mason White, the better offensive option, is going to replace him behind the plate. And with Miles Langhorne no longer in the game, the Charlotte battery doesn't really matter anymore. So White, with the bases juiced and 1 out, comes up in a big spot for Chatham. The righty faces the lefty Eaton. And a check swing, fouls off the first pitch. Straight into the hands of Kelly Nicholson, who throws it back in to the Chatham ball boy on the near side of the field, proving he's still got some life in that left arm. 5-2, Orleans the lead, but the base is loaded in the bottom of the fourth. Eaton deals, misses inside with the fastball at 94 miles an hour to the pinch hitter Mason White. A ball and a strike. Hudson White, rather.
Eaton's got to find the strike zone here. No more free passes.
Fouled away. 1-2. Bases loaded, 1 out. The 6'1", 200-pound catcher, Hudson White, pinch hitting for Caden Hobson. The bases loaded. 1 out. Both teams with 5 hits tonight, but Chatham with a 3-run deficit, 5-2. The bottom of the fourth, Connor Eaton has yet to record an out. The 1-2 pitch also fouled away.
Dialed that one up to 96 from the left side. Rare. Not something you usually see.
White requests for a little assistance from the Chatham dugout. Doesn't have great grip of the bat. So he steps back in behind an account 1-2. Just finished up his sophomore year at Texas Tech, transferring to Arkansas after 2 years with the Red Raiders. Bases loaded, 1 out. 5-2. Here's the pitch. Low miss. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Eaton has thrown now 4 more balls than he has strikes in 20 pitches. And the Virginia native has not recorded an out. A walk to Caden, a single for Caden Kent, and then back-to-back singles for Maldonado and Mayola, who are on second and first. Eaton misses upstairs, and the count is full to the pinch hitter Hudson White.
It's been all about control, and Chatham right now is daring Eaton to throw a strike. When it is, it's with the fastball, and they've been fouling it off.
Bases loaded, 1 out. Here's the payoff. Fouled off the right. We'll do it again.
The way Eaton gets out of this is either a pop-up on a foul ball by Chatham. They somehow put it in play, or he can find the off-speed pitch and get it for a strike. The off-speed pitch would catch these batters in front.
A 3-2. Upstairs, ball 4. Eaton goes with the fastball and misses high, and it walks in a run with the bases loaded. Caden Kent touches home plate. Chatham cuts into the deficit, still down 5-3 in the bottom of the fourth. But Connor Eaton has allowed 4 straight to reach for the A's without recording an out. That cues a little mound visit from the catcher, Owen Carpellotti. 3 straight walks for Chatham. Chris Maldonado, a pinch hitter. Aiden Mayola, the third baseman. And the latest to another pinch hitter in Hudson White. Back to the top of the order with Matthew Etzel, who's 1 for 2 with a single he had on the first. An RBI walk. You don't see that very often. But struggling to throw strikes, Eaton. 24 pitches, no outs recorded, 14 balls. Lefty on lefty with Etzel. The base is still juiced to 1 out. 5-3, Orleans still up. First pitch, off speed, misses low, 1-0.
These batters can see Eaton struggling with the off-speed. They're going to look fastball, and they're going to dare Eaton to throw it past them 3 times.
A ball and no strikes. Here's the pitch. There's a fastball that blows by Etzel for a strike. 1-1. Clocking in at 94 miles an hour from Eaton, who's now allowed an earned run in each of his last 2 appearances out of a bullpen for Orleans. Bases loaded, 1 out. Here's the pitch. Hit the opposite way, bloops over a leaping Jack Penny at third for a hit. Maldonado scores. It's an RBI single with the bases loaded. And Chatham now only down 1. 5-4 with a pair of runs here in the bottom of the fourth. Kelly Nicholson unfortunately has seen enough. Connor Eaton, who is really starting to heat up out of a bullpen for this Orleans team, has now allowed multiple runs in his last 2 appearances. A tough outing tonight. And another call of a bullpen, the second of the inning for Kelly Nicholson. Trying to preserve a 1-run lead with the bases still loaded and 1 out in the bottom of the 4th. Nate Ward, the big 6'8" reliever from Grand Canyon, is the call to the bullpen for Orleans. Check that. Another big arm, it's Grayson Carter from Vanderbilt. And he will pitch for Orleans when we come back. Still the bottom of the 4th from a foggy Veterans Field on a Wednesday night. Thanks so much for joining us on the Birds Broadcast Network. Ian Nicholas alongside Dylan Pescatore. And Dylan, the second pitching change of the inning. Evan Truitt recorded an out, left with the bases empty. And then Connor Eaton loaded the bases, walked in a run, and then an RBI single for Matthew Etzel. Bases still loaded, 1 out, as Grayson Carter comes in trying to keep a 1-run lead for Orleans.
Yeah, just a nightmare outing from Eaton, of course, with this lead that the offense has given them. They were up 5-2 coming into the frame. Evan Truitt got the first out and looked good. And then the matchup game got played by Kelly Nicholson. The lefty Eaton did not have his best stuff either.
And now 2 managers and all of the umpires talking. Because it's a
fog.
very foggy night here from Veterans Field. Kelly Nicholson and Tom Holliday both behind the home plate dish. The 3 umpires tonight, Mickey Garcia, Jeff Merzel, and Steve Kalenda, all talking along the infield. Dylan, they were testing the outfield to see what the visibility is looking like. They chucked a ball out there off the bat of a man now up, Derek Fabian, to see just how well left fielder Eddie Micheletti Jr. could see it.
You know what's so funny is that there's so much fog here always, and I asked the players because Orleans had a fog game. It wasn't here. It was in YD, right? And it seemed like the visibility wasn't great. The players told me that it really didn't impact them a lot.
Fog has been a problem on multiple occasions from Veterans Field this year, like you mentioned. And it's a cause for concern, regardless of what the players think. It's up to the officials, the umpires tonight. And Mickey Garcia, Jeff Merzel, and Steve Kalenda talking right in front of a mound. Grayson Carter also listening into the conversation. He wants to know if he has to pitch or not. He will. The game continues despite a conversation between the umpires and the managers. With the fog everywhere here from Chatham. You could still see everything in the outfield. Past that, can't see a whole lot. Bases loaded, 1 out, 5-4. Orleans the lead. Grayson Carter, the new pitcher in the game, blows a 99-mile fastball up and in. But it's a ball to Derek Fabian. 1-0.
Remember, a game in the Cape Cod Baseball League needs to get through 5 complete for it to be called and not have to be resumed.
Another fastball from Carter. It's in for a strike. His time at 95. 1-1. Let's go Anglers chats. starting to grow from Veterans Field. The bases loaded and 1 out. Already 2 runs this inning for Tom Holliday's team. The 1-1 from Carter gets the whiff out of Fabian. Swinging at the 98-mile-an-hour fastball, and he goes behind 1-2.
Last time out for Grayson was 4 days ago at Bourne. 2 batters faced, a walk and hit by pitch.
Didn't give up a run because Riley Fry came in, worked out of the jam. The 1-2, check swing. Did he go? No, according to the first base umpire, Jeff Merzel. So that's ball 2 and an even count for Fabian. Dylan, it kind of looked like he went around there.
It did. Merzel didn't agree.
Bases loaded, 1 out. Grayson Carter trying to work out of the jam. The 2-2 pitch. Fouled off. The netting. Powerful. The 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Fabian got a piece of it. Still 2-2. Fabian reached twice tonight. First on a fielder's choice in the first. The second on a walk in the third. Grayson Carter touching triple digits. The 2-2 breaking ball. High fly. Left field. Caught by Eddie Micheletti Jr. Here's the throw home. On his way home is Maldonado. He slides in safe. Tied game 5-5. The throw a little short of home plate. 3 runs in the inning for Chatham to erase the deficit. Sac fly off the bat of Derek Fabian.
Great catch by Micheletti Jr. Also a good throw. It's a little bit late for the runner. Mayola.
Mayola scores. Maldonado has scored. Caden Kent has scored to tie this game at 5. 3 runs for Chatham. Runners on first and second, 2 out. The batter is Carter Trice. Carter deals, misses high at 99 miles an hour, 1-0. Carter on Carter battle. Grayson Carter against Carter Trice. He had a 2-run home run in the first inning of it. Gave Chatham the lead. Orleans clapped back with 5 runs in the third. Chatham's responded with 3 runs here in the fourth. Carter's 1-0, swung on, missed. 1-1 as the junior from Vanderbilt loses his hat, brushes his hair, and pops the white cap back on.
After the first out by Truitt, after he got taken out after a strikeout of Lyle Miller Green, it was 5 straight to reach for Chatham.
It's been a productive inning for Tom Holliday's crew. The 1-1 pitch on the inner half misses for the 6'5", 250-pound righty. 2 balls and a strike. Hudson White on second. On first, it's Edsel.
I describe Grayson Carter like a Ferrari. Can go as quick as it can get, but can you control it?
The 2-1 has control. Fastball up and in at 99. Evens the count 2-2. Carter trying to navigate his way through traffic. A sac fly off the bat of Derek Fabian. Scored Aiden Mayola. Tied this game up at 5 just moments ago on a pop-up to left, snagged by Eddie Micheletti Jr. The throw a bit short on the way home on a very foggy night from Chatham. Carter steps off for rubber, fakes a throw to second in the direction of Hudson White, who walked, and steps back on after brushing his right foot on the rubber and stretching out. Counts 2-2. 2 on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's tied at 5 in a game that swung back and forth. Here's the pitch. Chopped, foul.
And they called that pitch clock violation. It got to 0 on the clock, and the umpire spotted it, so now a full count.
That's ball 3. There is a pitch clock here from Chatham, the only team in the Cape Cod Baseball League with a pitch clock that you can see right below the scoreboard in left field. MLB rules, 20 seconds for Grayson Carter. With 2 on, 2 out, and a full count. To the righty batter, Carter Trice, who's done damage tonight. The payoff, foul, right field line, drifting towards his left, Jake Casey in foul territory. There's no play to make. Ball's out of play.
I don't think he knew where it was.
I didn't know where it was. It's so foggy here from Chatham, and that's why a few minutes ago there was a conversation.
The umpires are going to meet.
Between the umpires, and now there's another conversation. Like you said, Dylan, because at this point it's going to be difficult to continue playing this game. Every single player is making their way off the field for Orleans, the entirety of the defense, because of the fog.
It's the right decision. Casey couldn't even see the ball. That was the last chance for this game to be played right now. I don't know how they'll go about it. It'll be a fog delay, I believe. But how do you go about fog? I mean, there's no way to get rid of it. The only thing you can do is kind of wait it out. But once again, the fog gets the Firebirds, and especially after an inning, they were leading 5-2, and now it's a tie game. So what can you do but wait? And the managers are now meeting with the umpire right around home plate. Just a weird situation here.
Not an uncommon situation, though. It's happened multiple times here for Chatham. We're going to go into a weather delay. Tom Holliday, Kelly Nicholson, the managers for these two teams, having a conversation. It's tied at 5. We've got an official word from the PA system here from Chatham. It's a 30-minute fog delay. So roughly around 9:05 tonight, expect this game to be resumed or for there to be more word on if we're going to continue playing or not. But as Dylan said, this game cannot be called a full, complete baseball game if we don't make it through 5 innings from Veterans Field. For now, we pause with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. Tied at 5, a fog delay is going to delay us on the Birds Broadcast Network. Stay with us. Check out our socials at Orleans Firebirds to see any updates. We'll come back soon, hopefully with more baseball to play from Veterans Field. Back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the bottom of the fourth of a game currently delayed from Veterans Field in Chatham because of fog. No official ruling yet. Both managers, Kelly Nicholson for Orleans and Tom Holliday for Chatham, having a conversation at home plate with umpires Mickey Garcia, Jeff Merzell, and Steve Kalenda. Dylan, definitely seemed like towards the tail end of the inning, it was getting a little bit difficult for the outfielders to see the ball. An errant throw from Eddie Micheletti on the throw home on the sac fly for Derek Fabian. And then a foul ball during an at-bat for Carter Trice. Jake Casey had no idea where it landed in right field. I'm guessing, but it definitely looked like it in judging how he played the ball. Do you think they can continue playing?
I truly don't think they should. I'm not someone who hates the game of baseball. I love baseball as much as you can. But in terms of safety of the players, in terms of how this game can get played, you want to get 5 in, sure. But I really don't know, because the fog, in my opinion, and I believe a lot of people as well, it has not gotten better. If anything, it's gotten worse from when we got this delay started back 13 minutes ago. The managers are still meeting with the umpires at home plate. And I really would hate for this game to get called, for sure. But how can you play when the outfielders can't see the ball? It's a dangerous act.
Outfielders can't see the ball. Fog continues to blow through Veterans Field.
I'd love to hear Jake Casey's perspective on that ball as well.
Well, we could ask his father, Sean. He's in attendance tonight. But Jake down there with the guys, trying to stay loose. A lot of them currently taking photos, just hanging out in front of the dugout. Nobody has any idea what's going to happen. Still a conversation between the three umpires, Kelly Nicholson and Tom Holliday at home plate. It's a 5-5 game. This series has just been a tough one to play. Yesterday was supposed to be a big July 4th game from Eldridge. Rained out between Orleans and Chatham. That game rescheduled to later in the month for a doubleheader to be played exclusively at Eldridge Park. And tonight's game can't be considered a full game unless 5 full innings are played, and we're not away from playing 4 full innings. Both these teams have off tomorrow, so you could play tomorrow. Something I know probably neither manager wants to hear, a much-needed off day. But that's the way the cookie crumbles as the fog has gotten worse here from Veterans Field.
Yeah, you can't say it's been a change in the positive. So how could you delay the game? I mean, we see it right here. I know we're on radio today, but it's completely almost – you can't see the outfield wall in right center from where we're sitting, which is about 10 feet to the left of home plate, 10 rows or so back in terms of seating. But right where that Jack Penny home run landed, right over the right center field fence, I can't see that right now. And even with my glasses on.
I was going to make the joke. You do have your glasses on. You're 20/20 at the moment. I got the contacts in. You can barely see anything past the wall. You can see only lights. You can't see shapes. You can see the scoreboard in left field, which reads 5-5. Tied game. The A's have knotted it up with 3 runs this inning. Connor Eaton came out of a bullpen in relief of the starter tonight, Evan Truitt, and allowed the first 5 base runners he saw to reach. Single for Caden Kent, plunked Chris Maldonado, walked Aiden Mayola and Hudson White. Then Matthew Etzel edged out a single against Grayson Carter, which scored a run, and then a sac fly for Derek Fabian. Another run after the bases loaded walk for Hudson White, and that's how we've got to the point we're at 5-5.
The weirdest part about this whole thing was we came back on to give an update because the PA announcer here in Chatham said we expect to get back to playing baseball at 8:50. 4 minutes passed, and neither team, the Chatham team is, the Anglers are in their dugout. The Firebirds are outside their dugout, but they're just fooling around with each other. It's no team, if we even decided to continue to play, would be ready to play in the next 5 minutes. It would take, of course, a process, get ready, who was on what base, what does count, this and that. And the fog just keeps moving in and out, and I don't see it getting any better. I really don't think this game will get continued tonight.
again, a fog delay here from Veterans Field. Tied game at 5 between these East Division rivals, Orleans and Chatham. Tom Holliday having a conversation with 2 of the officials. Kelly Nicholson having a one-on-one just a foot away from Holliday at home plate with the other official. Looking at a weather.com weather report from tonight as we are taking our broadcaster caps off, putting on our meteorology caps. It says, quote, areas of dense fog will reduce visibility to 1/4 mile at times across portions of Rhode Island and southeast Massachusetts overnight, where we are tonight in Chatham, Mass. The fog should lift between 8 to 11 a.m. Thursday. Motorists should be alert to rapid changing visibilities and allow a safe distance between vehicles. No, it's not a NASCAR event, it's a baseball game, but you get the point. Not only is the fog supposed to be here and be thick, heavy fog right now, but might continue throughout the entirety of the night here from the Cape. Bases are loaded, albeit there's nobody on the base paths right now. Actually, runners on first and second, my apologies, with 2 out after that sac fly from Derek Fabian tied the game at 5. We're going to step aside because, unfortunately, we told you there would be an update at 8:50. Never mind. I apologize. As soon as I say that, the good old announcer jinx kicks into effect. The message from the public address system here from Veterans Field, the game has been suspended and is going to be resumed at a later date. The fog delay turns into a fog suspension. And tonight, we're done calling baseball from Chatham. Yesterday, a rainout delayed the game and pushed the game back to a later date between Orleans and Chatham. Tonight, we only get through just under 4 innings, a strike away from getting through 4 innings, and it ends 5-5. So not only does Orleans and Chatham have to make up a game later in the month, but they couldn't play yesterday because of a rain, but tonight it's fog, and now 5 innings got to be played at some other time, Dylan. This is not good because just more and more off days are going to be sucked away because of games that can't be played right now early on in July.
Yeah, very frustrating night for both teams. I'd say hopefully we already had a doubleheader scheduled later in the season on July 21st against Chatham back at Eldridge. Now it's maybe you choose their next date that they play here at Chatham and, resume this game at, let's say, 4 o'clock and then play the second game at 7 o'clock. I think that could be an option.
A lot of options on the table. No options on the table tonight other than suspending the game. Long conversation at home plate between both managers, Kelly Nicholson of Orleans, and for Chatham, Tom Holliday, as well as the 3 officials, Mickey Garcia, the home plate ump, Jeff Merzel, the first base umpire, Steve Kalenda at third base. And they all decided that in the bottom of the 4th inning of a tied game at 5-5, the game could not be played due to fog here from Veterans Field. Tomorrow is supposed to be an off day for both Chatham and Orleans, so who knows? Maybe the Cape Cod Baseball League and these 2 organizations decide to continue the final 5 innings of this game tomorrow. But if not, Orleans is going to be back in action on the road against the Harwich Mariners on Friday. That's a 6:30 start from White House Field. Meanwhile, Chatham scheduled to play Falmouth in the second of 3 straight home games on Friday. Dylan, there's something you wanted to point out.
Yeah, the Firebirds only come to Chatham once more this year, and they will be playing on July 28th. So there is an off day right before that one as well, the 27th. But if they want to do the doubleheader here at Chatham, that would be the day to do it if they decide to do the doubleheader. If not, an off day tomorrow. But make sure to keep in track with our social media at Orleans Firebirds on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, etc. for updated information on when the game will be resumed. And it will be resumed. They won't start from scratch. It'll be 5-5 in the bottom of the 4th, 2 runners on, full count, 2 outs, everything the same whenever they do decide to resume this.
That's just baseball. Sometimes things don't break your way. Sometimes Mother Nature throws you a curveball. Yesterday, it was a rainout what was supposed to be a home game between Orleans and Chatham. Tonight, it's fog and a game suspension. We'll sign off here on the Birds Broadcast Network. For Sammy Miller, Dylan Pescatore, our producer Will Lundrigan, I'm Ian Nicholas. 5-5, bottom of the fourth, 2 runners on for Chatham, 2 outs, and the game cannot be continued because of fog. Follow our social media, like Dylan said, at Orleans Firebirds to find out when we play next. It could be Friday at Harwich with a 6:30 start. Our coverage would go live at 6:15 on the scorching start. Or it could be maybe tomorrow with both of these teams having an off day, continuing the game. Could be continued later this month. We don't know. And because of that, we'll sign off because we don't have any further information to provide. Have a good night. We'll see you when you see you. Tied at 5 in the bottom of the fourth and a game suspended due to fog here from Veterans Field.